Washington Post apparently fired some lady named Karen Attiah. I have no idea of her work. I have no idea of anything that she's ever done. All I know is that she's angry that she got fired from the Washington Post. Now, the question is, was her firing justified? If you look specifically to her, which many news outlets have, Politico, I think, The Hill, just had, well, this is her response to her being fired, you will find things like this. On Monday, she posted to her Substack, and I'm going to read it in my oh no voice. As a columnist, I used my voice to defend freedom and democracy, challenge power, and reflect on culture and politics with honesty and conviction. Now I'm being silenced for doing my job. Oh, really, Karen? Is that why you're being silenced? Is that why you're being fired from the Washington Post? Well, interestingly enough, on several of the articles that you'll read coming up, you won't actually see what she said, but good news, the internet is forever, so we have that. She said on Blue Sky, refusing to tear my clothes and smear ashes on my face in performative mourning for a white man who espoused violence is not the same as violence. Well, one, to comment on the last part of that, yeah, your people did the violence, so I guess it's technically not the same as the people on your own side. I'm not sure how you square that in your head. But two, okay, find me the clip of Charlie espousing violence. And I'm not talking about your made-up violence. Words are violence, speech are violence. That's not a real thing, and we all agree that that's not a real thing. I'm talking about physical violence. Charlie wanting someone to be injured or hurt or harmed or even killed for their thoughts. I guarantee you won't find him. So that is either a lie or you're just so stupid you don't know that it is a lie. She went on Substack to say this: my only direct reference to Kirk was one post, his own words on record. She then included a screenshot. She said this. This is the quote that she's saying. This is the only thing I said, and it was his own words. She said, black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously. You had to steal a white person's slot. Wow. Wait, what an awful quote that is. I wonder if that's in context and saying the things that she's meaning it to say. Well, good news, we have the clip, and I'd like to play that clip for you right now. This is Charlie from the Charlie Kirk Show saying the things that he said, but clearly not the way that she claims that he said them. Check this out.
You really have to wonder, in fact, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
Okay, before we play that, and I do want to play that, case in point. He wasn't saying that he thinks that. He's saying that you're effectively saying that because you think, well, I only got here because of affirmative action. What you're effectively then saying is diminishing the value of the people that you claim to help. That's the whole thing. That's the whole argument. So maybe Miss Karen Attiah, whatever her name is, maybe you got fired. Well, maybe in part because of the horrible things you say. You refuse to cry over a white man because that makes a difference for any sort of reason. Maybe you got fired because you're a bad journalist. Maybe in the 10-year tenure that this lady had at the Washington Post, everybody at the Washington Post was going, hey, she's not very good at her job. She was hired only because she's a DEI hire. We wouldn't otherwise have hired her, but she happens to be a black woman. And therefore, we got to meet quotas because the whole racial injustice thing or whatever that is. Maybe that's the reason she got fired. Maybe she got fired because she was so bad at her job, she would say something so irresponsible and think, hey, the internet exists. We have the clip that you're referencing here, and we know that that's not what he said. I want to continue playing that clip because he's talking about a congresswoman here, and that congresswoman, I just thought this was also interesting to basically reiterate the point. We think that people saying they needed affirmative action diminishes their own value, and all we're doing is repeating that. Watch this.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
Okay, well, it's hard to believe the second part of that if you're going to admit the first part of that. I got in on affirmative action. I got in because not only am I a woman, I'm a woman of color, but I didn't graduate because of affirmative action. Oh, totally. Yeah. They during the admissions process, what you don't understand is they admit people that are below the line in which they would admit people. But while they're at school, there's no, denigration of what they actually need to do to accomplish the schooling process and graduate with a degree. There's no way that would ever happen. But like he said, the entire thing hinges on the fact that there are people out there that say, yeah, I got in on affirmative action. How much of it is it a crime to then say, okay, well, yeah, we know. And therefore, we can judge you on a different scale because you didn't have to come in on the same scale as everybody else. That's all he was saying. And the lady that got fired from the Washington Post either should have known that or was just lying. Either way, I think it makes it so that she shouldn't be a journalist. That's kind of the whole thing. Yeah, the whole race commentary was bad. And on top of that, in her response, she proved that she was unfit for the job that she had. Again, probably, maybe even possibly, maybe even probably, that was because of a DEI in the first place.